Looks like a little Christian church of some sort, small, with its own bell. Cute. And here a Roman theater. Saw this little bouquet of flower growing on these stairs. Illustration of this wall behind me, giving us a little hint as to how it might have begun to look. Whether this went up higher like the Colosseum and had several tiers of arches, I don't know. Good sized stones the Romans were using. Here an aisle. Look how worn it is. Can you imagine the people, the Roman people, who used this? Back almost 2,000 years, maybe less. Not quite sure when they were here. I think probably around, I'm not sure. In all probability, there was all kinds of structure off that way, including various levels where a performance could take place, not just on one level. Now, I'm always looking for anomalies, so what would a hole like that have been for? And you see there's another, and there's one off to my right somewhere. This looks like it would have been an alcove, although notice that that stone right there is worked into a curve up at the top. So what was here and down at the bottom? Or has that stone been moved in at some later time? What was back inside of here in these little alcoves? Here holes that suggest posts. Perhaps this was for the wealthy and the important. Maybe there were awnings here. Again, nothing appears to be back in there very deep, because there it was rebuilt to stabilize the entire wall. Notice the indentation there, probably to hold another structural element. But notice the angles here. This was not for naught. There was some important reason why it was notched that way. And what took place down here, since it appears that those stones are original, notice that they're creating a nice little border at the top. So what was done in this lower pit area? Is this detail original? Where I'm standing here would have been rooms for the sets, for the actors. There's some columns that probably were used in the staging structure. Notice that this wall continued back along through here, presumably all the way back to these farthest points. What of this? What was this area used for? Again, notice the detail. That wall is nicely preserved. Was this a channel, as it looks like it is? And was it the same over there? Now there's a big block of stone we looked at earlier, but was that just one that fell in place? Was it in fact never really there? Now notice also that that piece is worked at the left, underneath that stone wall. Does that mean that wall was built later? Did this have some earlier function? And notice the walls, the rocks that create those portals are not the same. Two vertical ones, two flat stubby ones with some others piled on top that are horizontal. Here a couple of flat ones, but not laid inward like the first ones were. And here a combination. One that goes in but is vertical, and a slab, and then a block. Is it possible that all of this was stuccoed or plastered? Notice here a stairway. When I first got here, a couple took turns standing on the stage, she doing a nice pose, and after her pose I applauded, and they got a big kick out of that. I just couldn't resist. Notice these stairs, one big stair and then a shallow, one big and a shallow. Why not two the same size? I've just been to the ancient theater, and now I'm going to walk through the upper gate. Back on the right, it appears to be the remains of the wall, or a wall. And this is the upper gate. We'll look closely at those heavy doors, which may be relatively new. And here, more wall going along here. Some minor remains. Probably these were buildings that were administrative in support of this gate, which perhaps was an important gate. I suspect all gates were important. From that upper reach there, we may be able to get an idea of how big this actual gate area was, insofar as height was concerned at least. You see that this big stone here has been worked nicely as a column, as has the stones right along this corner. Also, if you look closely, we can see that there was some kind of engraving along in here. Whether it's Roman or not, I don't know. I doubt this is an old door, but interesting nevertheless, and sheathed semicircular sheets of metal. As we come out to our left, parapets of the wall, and a little bit of lapidarium. I have to keep using that word since I learned it, but what it means is basically scraps of old architectural pieces. This has all been reconstructed, I'm sure. It's too massive to not go up and take a look. Whether this wall to my right was part of it or not, I don't know. Appears to be. Perhaps, if nothing else, it was a stabilizing wall for the main wall. And I wonder what that slight outcropping would have been for. Dissipates at the end. It appears to be a reconstructed wall, recessed in a bit from the old original. In fact, I'm thinking in a stroke of honesty that parallel building bricks defines where the old was, at least horizontally, and where it's been filled in above. That gives us an idea of the height. And here another gate that has been completely reconstructed. And it looks like the wall continues, whether it's the original Roman wall or whether it was built to support that level of the city, I don't know. But I'm going to stop here and return down the hill. And I wonder why they left this part exposed as opposed to the rest of the walkway, which is fully enclosed, and probably with rock I'm looking for. This looks like a pedestrian stairway down, also going to that church, I think that is.